Alright, what is up YouTube? Today I wanted to talk about the Saint Seiya live action film coming very soon, titled Knights of the Zodiac. If you guys haven't already, please feel free to check out my previous videos where I covered reactions of the trailers that we've gotten and just other news revolving this film, like the Pink song being the theme, the release date for the film throughout different parts of the world, etc. So yeah, I've been covering this film from its announcement way back when, and now here we are to where the film is almost out, and it's kind of crazy to think about it. But yeah, I've been covering a lot of anime live action adaptations on my channel. That's primarily what I do on my channel, so yeah, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. But talking about this film, my real thoughts and impressions going into this film after seeing both trailers multiple times and just overall being a fan of Saint Seiya and the franchise, what do I think of this movie? So here's the thing about this movie, right? After watching the second trailer, you really get the sense of they are trying to do something new, or they're not trying to be 1-to-1 ratio from the anime to live action. Like, that's obviously not what they're going for. There's a lot of cool scenery that is in the trailers where you see like the Pegasus appear behind Seiya, and like, you know, in the beginning where you have like these angels in armor fighting each other and like clashing, like that looks pretty cool, right? But then you have other parts where there's like a helicarrier and, you know, a bunch of guns and stuff, and it's like, oh, this isn't really Saint Seiya-esque. You can kind of tell what they're going for. It seems like they're really trying to make this a origin story type of film where they don't take too many risks. There's not going to be a ton of characters introduced, and it seems like they're really just going to try and focus on one simple story that may or may not be why Seiya's armor doesn't look all that great right now, right? Because they want to build him up across multiple movies, because Toei has already said that they plan on making 6 live action films of this franchise of Saint Seiya. So of course this movie is probably going to end up being the weakest out of those films, and that's what they're going for. Like, straight up, this is a setup movie. I do feel like there are elements that can suffer from that, from them trying to go for this setup movie to build up this story across multiple films. And there are good things that can come of it as well. Going for a new take doesn't exactly seem like the best idea, especially for getting fans of the franchise to be on board with these series of films. But at the same time, over the course of these films, it could pan out, and once we start to realize the vision of this world, it might end up working out or not being as jarring as just initially seeing like, oh, is that something that would happen in the world of Saint Seiya with like all the guns and stuff. But then like over time, you know, once we actually see how the film is and what they're going for, it might not be so bad, right? Or we might just get used to it. We might realize the vision, and it might not be as big of a deal. But here's the problem. The problem is that I think Toei is relying on the concept of multiple films even happening to really flesh out everything they want to do. And in theory, in concept, it's a good idea because you don't have to cram too many things into one movie and make the same mistake that Fullmetal Alchemist live action did. You now have multiple films to build up stories across, to introduce characters at a much nicer pace, right? In theory, it makes sense, and it could pay off for a huge reward in the end. But the problem is, if this film, Knights of the Zodiac, is complete ass, we're not getting another film. You know what I mean? Like, let's face it, most of the anime live action adaptations from Hollywood, whether you think they're good or bad, because me personally, I'll be the first to tell you that I really don't think they're that bad, and I think most people that say they're bad are just bandwagon hating and don't know what the hell they're talking about, and probably haven't even seen the live action adaptations for themselves. But whether we like it or not, whether you think they're good or bad, most people consider them bad, or they spread the word of mouth that they are bad. They don't get received very well. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate, and that's why I have my channel, because I think there is more to talk about. I think there are anime live action movies that are actually good. People just don't want to admit it. And if you guys want more on that, just check out my videos on my channel. There's a huge discussion there that's just left on the table that no one's talking about. So I wanted to be the one to talk about it. We have movies like Speed Racers, adaptations like Alice in Borderland that are anime live action that no one's really addressing as like, oh, these are actually good. You know, like, there's so many things to talk about, and that's why I made my channel and really started talking about it. But anyway, moving back into this movie, right? There's no way that 6 movies are actually going to be transpired if the first one does so bad to the point where, you know, everyone's spreading bad word of mouth. Everyone says this movie sucks. They're not gonna invest money into making a whole nother movie when everyone hates the first one. Like, that's just not how things work out. And it's unfortunate because I see what they're trying to go for, but at the same time, I feel like since this is a collaboration project with Toei Animation and Sony Pictures, there's been some miscommunication, or one of them is just on the wrong foot. It's probably Toei, to be honest, but you know, really can't say for sure. I'm not too in the loop or behind the scenes about anything, but again, I just feel like them planning out 6 films for this franchise, like in theory it could work and it could make a lot of things turn out really well, but with the trailers that have come out for this first movie, and just I feel like the overall tone of it being kind of a setup movie, I don't know, man. I really don't think that, even if the movie turns out great, phenomenal from just a story standpoint and everything, if the fans aren't feeling it, if the fans aren't impressed, or if they aren't 100% satisfied, you know they're gonna complain and riot till the film gets buried to the ground, to the point where they're not gonna make any more films. And this is a problem that exists within the anime community itself, because it's not just anime live action adaptations that get buried to the ground. Sometimes it's even the anime adaptations that get buried to the ground, being adapted from the manga. If one thing goes wrong, oh, all of a sudden everyone riots, you know? And I've made a video talking about that in more detail, about how the anime community is just really spoiled. And it doesn't even matter about translating anime to live action, it's just about the anime community themselves are way too spoiled to handle any sort of change or open their mind to any sort of change when it comes to adapting anything. So this is a problem that, of course, anime live action suffers from, like, inherently. Whether or not I think the film is going to be all that great, I do kind of fear for this franchise simply because of everything surrounding it, you know? And one other thing I want to point out, I feel like this film hasn't really been talked about too much, right? I feel like this film hasn't been on most people's radar. Like, I haven't seen too many people make videos about it. Like, everyone's so quick to hate on anime live action, but no one's talking about this film in particular. And I feel like Saint Seiya is popular enough to where I think it would get more attention. But from what I've seen, a lot of people making videos about this are not in the US. A lot of Brazilian YouTubers, which makes sense because Saint Seiya is huge in Brazil, but still, I just feel like there would be more people talking about it, but I don't see a lot of people talking about it. But here's the thing, I feel like as soon as this movie comes out, everyone's gonna be talking about it and wanting to hate on it. Like, no one's going to be acknowledging this movie unless it's to hate on it. I feel like as soon as it comes out, I think everyone's gonna hate on it or only acknowledge it to hate on it. And it's annoying because I feel like that is somewhat the fate of every live action adaptation from Hollywood. But obviously some have gained a lot of attention before even coming out, like the One Piece live action or the My Hero live action. But this one, I just feel like whenever I talk about it, make videos about it, it seems like not a lot of people even know that it still exists, even though it's literally about to come out in a few months. It's kind of funny and kind of interesting, but it's also kind of saddening because, again, I feel like everyone's only going to acknowledge this movie for when it comes time to hate on it. And it's sad, man. It's really sad because I know the filmmakers put, you know, effort into wanting to make this, and obviously Toei is working with Sony to make this, and it seems like they want to make something, but I just don't know if they got the right idea on what the fans want or what the general audience of anime live action wants with this movie. And I think you can kind of see that reflected in the first 2 trailers, because it doesn't really seem very Saint Seiya like, and that's fine. I'm not really too keen on it being a 1-to-1 ratio from the anime or manga to live action. I'm totally okay with new changes, and I'm totally okay with a new vision, a new world that they're trying to build. But from what I have seen, I hate to say it, but it does seem very like Hollywood-esque with the Saint Seiya skin on it, you know? And I don't know, I mean, I'm really hoping that that's not the case, but from what we have seen, that's kind of what I'm getting, if I'm being honest. Like, if I'm being completely honest, no BS to you guys, that's kind of what I'm getting. And again, I would love to be proven wrong. I would love to come out of that theater being amazed and absolutely cheering my ass off like, yo, this was actually really good. But from what we got, it doesn't look crazy special. It doesn't look that bad or anything. Like, I think it's gonna be an enjoyable movie for Saint Seiya fans, but I don't think it's going to be the special, like, crazy new vision that anime live action needs. And to be honest, that's another reason why I got into talking more about anime and live action filmmaking, because I personally have had a specific vision for making anime in live action or adapting anime into live action, but just a way of going about filmmaking that I think hasn't actually been done in films before. And that's kind of the whole reason why I got into film as a whole, is that I wanted to show that and make films in an anime style. And from what I was reading with a lot of the interviews of this movie, it seemed like that's what the director and the action choreographer wanted to do with this film. But again, from those trailers that we've gotten so far, I don't think that this film is really pushing those boundaries or really doing anything stepping outside of the realm of filmmaking that's already been done before. So it just seems kind of like, again, how I described a Hollywood kind of Americanized movie with the Saint Seiya skin. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more references and things that, you know, most anime live action adaptations from Hollywood wouldn't actually go above and beyond to like make or point out, because again, with Toei being involved, I think we're going to see a lot more attention to detail and special care for the story and just overall things that we might not see in like a Dragon Ball Evolution, for example. Like, I think Knights of the Zodiac, this live action, will be pretty faithful, or will have things there for the fans, like for sure. Like, Toei wouldn't co-produce this without some kind of like treat to us fans of Saint Seiya. But overall, from the tone of the trailers, I feel like the movie's not gonna be a love letter to Saint Seiya fans. It'll have things there for us sprinkled in, for sure, and maybe more things than most live action adaptations would. But I think overall, it's still gonna be kind of just that. So whether it will be decent or really bad or surprisingly really good, we'll have to wait and see. But those are my thoughts regarding the Knights of the Zodiac Saint Seiya live action movie that is coming very soon. I'm still very excited to see it, of course, to see Famke Janssen on the big screen once again. But in all seriousness, yeah, I am still really excited to see it. It's coming out around my birthday, so that's gonna be pretty cool. I'm actually really excited for that. And yeah, I'm still gonna try and go into things with an open mind and fresh eyes, so hopefully you all will do the same. But in the meantime, what did you guys think about anything I had to say? Let me know in the comments below. Please leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already, that helps me out a ton. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see y'all in the next video.